Good evening, dear friend, and welcome. I am Owen Thorne, here to guide you into a realm of calm and enchantment. Allow yourself to settle in, feeling the gentle weight of your body sink into the surface beneath you. In a few moments, you will be carried off to the Misty Mountains, where spring's first light reveals a slumbering dragon stirring in the dawn. Take a slow, deep breath in and let it out with a tender sigh. Notice the subtle shift in your muscles as the day's tension begins to melt away. Imagine the air around you is soft as gossamer, cradling you with each exhale, easing you into a place of tranquility. Listen to the quiet of this moment, as though nature itself is drawing near to whisper a lullaby in your ear. Feel free to close your eyes whenever you wish, allowing your thoughts to drift like pale morning clouds across a vast and endless sky. Gently, gently slip further into comfort as we begin our journey through the Misty Mountains at sunrise. Far from bustling towns and busy roads stood a secluded range of mountains, shrouded each morning by a light film of fog. Soft golden hues would pour across the valley at dawn, draping each rugged peak in shimmering halos. The ground was peppered with early spring flowers, their bright petals turning to face the sun's first rays. Among these mountains, a gentle hush often reigned, broken only by the distant hum of small waterfalls cascading down stony ledges. Here, in this land of hush and hidden wonders, a young herbalist named Rowan prepared for his day. Each morning, Rowan would awaken just before the sun rose. He was a calm, thoughtful soul, blessed with a deep appreciation for nature's quiet miracles. He lived at the edge of a small forest, nestled at the foot of the Misty Mountains, in a humble cottage with a curved roof made of cedar shingles and moss. At dawn, the soft coo of wood doves would gently nudge him awake. He would rise, dress in humble linen, and step outside to greet the morning. While the mist wreathed the rocky slopes in pale veils, Rowan would wander through his garden. Tender herbs stretched toward him, dew clinging to the edges of their leaves. He would listen to the murmuring breeze that slipped down from the high ridges, carrying with it the crisp scent of pine. In the distance, the shapes of the upper cliffs rose, dark silhouettes that often inspired the villagers to spin legends of glimmering creatures. Whispers filled the local tavern of a slumbering dragon, said to be as old as the mountains themselves, resting in a cave near the highest summit. From time to time, travellers claimed to catch a fleeting glimpse of a flash of scales, though none could say for certain if these stories were truth or fancy. On that particular morning, Rowan felt an unusual anticipation in the air. He couldn't quite name it, as though the wind itself bore a secret of some momentous event waiting to unfold. He gathered a few sprigs of thyme and sage to brew his morning tea. The aroma rose in quiet spirals of steam as he stood at the threshold of his cottage, sipping from a simple clay cup. Overhead, the sky was barely lit with gentle pink, and the mountains appeared like watercolor shapes against the dawn. The hush was so complete that each tiny stirring of the forest seemed magnified. The flap of an owl's wings returning from a night's hunt, the soft rustle of ferns brushing against one another, and the delicate crackle of a twig beneath a passing deer. After finishing his tea, Rowan set out toward the forest's edge, hoping to gather early wildflowers that flourished in hidden grottos at the base of the mountain. A gentle path wove among mossy stones, leading him past small meandering streams with crystal clear water. He paused to admire the way the sunlight gradually touched the highest trees, painting the needles in a shifting tapestry of light and shade. As he walked, he kept his eyes open, watchful for bright, fresh blooms, signs of spring's gentle return. Not far up the trail lay a small clearing, wrapped in the arms of aged birch trees. In this clearing was a peculiar circle of stones that local lore suggested once served as a meeting place for ancient forest spirits. Rowan didn't know whether to believe such tall tales, but he felt reverence for the area all the same. He whispered a soft greeting as he stepped into the clearing, noticing a cluster of pale violet blossoms at the base of one smooth rock. Kneeling with care, he began to pick only the blooms he needed, mindful never to disturb more than nature could spare. That was when he noticed a faint, melodic hum drifting through the trees. At first, he could not tell if it was simply the wind funneling through hollow logs or something else entirely. Curiosity guiding him, he stood and turned in the direction of the strange resonance. It was neither threatening nor harsh. Rather, it called to him like a distant lullaby. He closed his eyes, focusing his hearing, letting the sound guide him along the old birch grove's border until the trees started to thin, revealing part of the rocky mountain slope. There, a narrow passage curved upward between two large, moss-covered boulders, its surface glistening with the last traces of dawn dew. Rowan had never ventured beyond that point, assuming there was nothing but rugged terrain and steep inclines. But on this day, the soft hum invited him to follow, and so he stepped onto the path. Each footfall felt gentle, in sync with the calm tempo of his breath. Soon, the chatter of the forest gave way to a serene hush, as though he were passing from one realm to another. The air grew cooler, thick with the scent of wet stone and fresh mountain blossoms. The path began to spiral upward, winding through a corridor of tall, slender pines. Their trunks stretched skyward like silent sentinels, beckoning him along. Occasionally, he would spot tiny footprints left by foxes or rabbits, but no other human footprints. He proceeded slowly, pausing now and then to catch his breath and to take in the sweeping vistas. Far below, the forest rolled out in a patchwork of greens, interspersed with bursts of wildflowers. Higher he climbed, and as he rounded a subtle bend, he glimpsed something unusual nestled among craggy outcroppings. A faint glimmer, as if sunlight had kissed a bed of jewels. He drew closer, his heart gently thrumming with excitement. The soft hum that had guided him gradually grew clearer, though it retained its gentle, lullaby-like quality. Ahead, bathed in the gold of the rising sun, stood a cavern's entrance, framed by hardy shrubs and creeping vines. The mouth of the cave shimmered faintly, as though some hidden luminescence pulsed within. Rowan paused at the threshold, keenly aware that he stood on sacred ground. The air around the cave entrance felt charged with an ancient stillness, like a page from a story older than any living memory. Carefully, he stepped inside, and as his eyes adjusted to the dimmer light, he noticed crystalline formations sprouting from the walls, each reflecting the dawn's glow in shimmering splashes of color. A soft, rhythmic sound emanated from the depths, reminiscent of a creature's gentle breathing. Deeper within, the cavern opened into a grand chamber. Stalactites and stalagmites rose like silent guardians of the cave's secrets. In the center lay a magnificent creature, curled upon a bed of smooth pebbles and wildflowers. Pale gold scales adorned its slender body, catching the fractured light and reflecting it in dancing ribbons across the dark stone walls. Sprigs of morning dew clung to the dragon's snout, shimmering as it exhaled in slow, peaceful slumbers. This was the fabled springtime dragon of the Misty Mountains, a being said to herald the season's renewal. For a moment, Rowan's breath caught in his throat. He felt neither fear nor dread. Rather, a tender awe washed over him. The dragon's presence was vast and powerful, yet softened by a profound tranquility. Quietly, Rowan sank to one knee, uncertain of how else to respond to such wonder. He watched the rise and fall of the ancient dragon's torso, enthralled by its gentleness. Soon, perhaps stirred by a subtle shift in the air, the dragon's large eyes slowly fluttered open. They were iridescent green, reminiscent of fresh leaves after spring rain. The creature lifted its head, regarding Rowan with a curiosity that mirrored his own. Despite its formidable size, the dragon moved with a fluid grace, uncurling its tail as it prepared to rise. A hush of marvel fell between them. The dragon stretched its wings, delicate membranes that glistened with traces of dew, and let out a slow, melodic rumble, as though greeting an old friend. Rowan bowed his head again, unsure of any formalities when encountering a legendary being. Rather than roar or exhale flames, the dragon merely blinked, studying the young herbalist in silence. It was as though the creature recognized him on some deep, unspoken level. Slowly, Rowan rose, a cautious warmth glowing in his heart. He sensed no threat, only a gentle invitation. He stepped closer, mindful of each move, and extended a hand, palm open in a gesture of peace. The springtime dragon lowered its head, letting Rowan's palm rest upon its scaled brow. A subtle warmth passed between them, like a single chord of music played softly on a harp. In that moment, Rowan felt every budding leaf, every trickling spring, and every seed in the earth poised to bloom. The dragon's breath carried the scent of elderflowers, fresh water, and sunlit meadows. It was a simple, comforting presence, as though the soul of the mountain had come to life. Gradually, the dragon rose to its full height, towering over Rowan, yet emanating calm. It opened its wings wide, revealing intricate patterns of colour, like faint pastel rainbows shining through thin, translucent membranes. Rowan was reminded of the stories from the village, how each new spring was said to be ushered in by the dragon's awakening. Dawn would break over the mountains, and with the dragon's first breath of the season, life would blossom in every hollow and crevice. True to these tales, as the dragon swept its wings in a gentle motion, the very air in the cavern seemed to come alive. A thin swirl of glimmering particles, like fairy dust, wafted out of the cave and into the morning light. The mountain peaks became clearer, outlined in a gentle golden haze as the mist slowly dissolved. Flowers unfurled their petals. The forest below sparkled with fresh dew, and a chorus of birds welcomed the new day. When the last swirling glimmer settled, the springtime dragon turned its gaze back to Rowan, who still stood in hushed wonder. The creature bent its neck, nudging him gently with the tip of its snout. A low rumble, almost like a purring cat, resonated in its chest. Rowan felt a surge of gratitude and wonder, tears pricking at the corners of his eyes. This was a once-in-a-lifetime moment of harmony between a humble human and an ancient, magical being. Knowing that such an encounter could not last forever, Rowan took a slight step back, dipping into a final bow of respect. The dragon curled its tail around itself and lowered its head once more, as though returning to a restful state. For a moment, their eyes locked, and Rowan understood that spring's gentle guardianship had been entrusted to both of them, a reminder of the vital bond between humans and nature. With one more respectful nod, Rowan turned and made his way back toward the cave's entrance. As he stepped outside, the warming sun met him like a friend, illuminating the path home. He descended the winding trail at a slow, thoughtful pace. The hush in the air was now tinged with a jubilant quality, as if all living things recognized the stirring of spring. Butterflies with pastel wings flitted among the fresh buds. A pair of mountain goats quietly observed him from a rocky ledge, their soft bleating echoing across the slopes. Each step brought him closer to the forest, yet he felt as though part of him remained behind with the dragon, connected to the ancient magic that embraced every branch and petal in that realm. When Rowan reached the forest floor, he noticed that the entire wood seemed in bloom. Trilliums and lilies of the valley arched their slender stems, painting the ground with delicate colour. Tiny rills of water sparkled in the sunlight, tracing new pathways between ferns. Birds sang with renewed vigour, their melodies weaving through the leaves as if celebrating the arrival of spring's mystical guardian. Word of the sighting spread quietly but swiftly. Rowan told no one in the village directly, yet those around him sensed something had changed. They noticed a peaceful glow in his expression, as if he carried a secret hope in his heart. Some evenings, as Rowan quietly brewed tinctures in his little cottage, neighbours would stop by, remarking on how vibrant the season felt. They spoke in hushed tones of new shoots sprouting faster than usual, of blossoms more radiant than any they had seen before. The local beekeeper mentioned that honey production was surging, thanks to abundant flowers. Even the usually rowdy tavern-goers seemed subdued, listening intently to any rumour or passing whisper about the elusive springtime dragon. Still, Rowan kept the dragon's whereabouts a secret. He felt it was a sacred trust, one he intended to safeguard. He continued his daily walks through the forest, collecting herbs and offering silent thanks for the gifts of the land. Sometimes, at the break of dawn, he would look toward the highest peaks, half expecting to see the flash of golden scales among the clouds. And though he never spotted the dragon again in broad daylight, he sensed its essence in every sunlit bloom, every gentle breeze, every ripple in the streams that converged into the valley. At nights, soft moonlight bathed the mountains, revealing pale shapes of glacial peaks. The villages below slumbered in peace, lulled by the knowledge that spring had truly arrived. Within the hush of midnight, Rowan often dreamt of standing side by side with the ancient dragon, watching the sun rise over the ridges, dispelling the mist with a gentle wave of shining wings. In these dreams, he felt neither fear nor urgency, just a deep calm that enveloped him like a warm blanket. One cool evening, as the waning moon cast a silvery glow on the cedar shingles of Rowan's cottage, he found himself awake, gently restless. A stirring in his heart led him to step outdoors. The forest was dappled with moonlit patches. Leaves shimmered softly, and an owl hooted from some hidden perch. Rowan's gaze drifted to the far peaks, and he wondered if the springtime dragon stirred beneath the moon's watchful glow. Without conscious plan, he followed the path he knew so well, meandering deeper under the forest canopy, until he reached the clearing of ancient birch trees. The circle of stones looked otherworldly in the moonlight, each stone touched by a faint glow. He settled on a smooth rock, inhaling the cool night air, and let the hush of the forest cradle him. As he sat there, he recalled the dragon's gentle rumble and its regal wings, the sense of promise and renewal woven into its being. He closed his eyes, letting his mind drift with the subtle whisper of a night breeze. A soft, almost imperceptible melody filled his thoughts, reminiscent of the hum that had guided him to the cave. When he opened his eyes again, he glimpsed a light, far away, high above, near the ridge where that hidden cavern lay. It was like a small lantern dancing among the rocky silhouettes. The glow flickered once, twice, and then vanished. And though the distance concealed the dragon's form, Rowan felt certain he had seen the creature's gentle aura, a tranquil reassurance that all was well. The days that followed were marked by abundant sunshine and mild rains that nourished the earth. Gentle storms passed over the valley, leaving behind glittering droplets on every leaf, while the air grew thick with the scent of fresh grass. In the village, children laughed as they gathered wildflowers in woven baskets. Elders reminisced about bygone springs, remarking that they had never witnessed such a vibrant season. Fields teemed with new life, and gentle breezes carried dandelion seeds far and wide, scattering possibilities across the countryside. Through it all, Rowan remained quietly devoted to his craft. He prepared calming teas from dried lavender and chamomile, offering them to neighbours who struggled to sleep. He harvested honeysuckle for sweet syrups, providing them to families with small children. His knowledge of the forest's herbs seemed to grow every day, as though he too was nurtured by the same magic that flowed from the mountain's hidden heart. Yet, somewhere deeper in Rowan's soul, a seed of wonder flourished. He knew that the springtime dragon was more than just a legend. It was a living testament to renewal, to the cyclical nature of life that emerges gently from winter's hushed slumber. The memory of that first morning in the cave remained fresh in his mind, a precious secret that guided his every step through the forest. Sometimes he would whisper gratitude to the drifting clouds, as though the dragon might hear his thanks carried on the wind. Gradually, as the season wore on, the edges of the forest burst with colour, a tapestry of vibrant greens, pink blossoms, and lilac-laced trails. Creatures of all kinds roamed more confidently, from timid rabbits nibbling on young shoots, to deer tiptoeing near the riverside to sip at the fresh water. Even the mountains, so often grey and forbidding, seemed wrapped in a veil of gentle possibility. In the stillness before dawn, if one listened carefully, they might catch that same melodic hum drifting through the highest peaks. It was a faint lullaby that lulled the valley below, gently embracing the land with a soft promise. Spring was here to stay, and with it came hope, growth, and peace. As the weeks passed, a new sunrise began to dawn over the valley, one filled with warm breezes. The fog that once clung to the cliffs gradually thinned out with each passing day, revealing more of the mountain's quiet majesty. The hush of dawn gave way to a pleasant chorus of songbirds, a gentle symphony that accompanied blossoming fruit trees. Each morning, Rowan awakened filled with the memory of the golden dragon, feeling the soft pulse of its presence stretching like roots beneath the surface of everyday life, connecting him to the heart of the mountain. Then, on a particularly radiant morning, as dew sparkled in the early light, Rowan ventured again up that winding path toward the hidden cavern. He was drawn by a sense that the season's turning point was near, and he wished to offer the dragon a small bouquet of herbs and wildflowers as a gesture of gratitude. Along the way, he noticed how the forest glowed with renewed vigour, an emerald canopy overhead, the ground lined with luscious ferns, and the air fragrant with blooming honeysuckle. Every so often, he paused to rest a hand on the trunk of an ancient tree, feeling the steady pulse of life beneath the bark. When he reached the cave, he found that the crystals inside shimmered more vibrantly than ever in the morning sun. In the center of the cavern, the springtime dragon lay curled upon its bed of pebbles and blossoms, breathing in slow contentment. Its eyes drifted open at the sound of Rowan's gentle footfalls. A quiet excitement flickered in its gaze, as though it recognized a friend. Rowan bowed slightly, placing his bouquet of fresh herbs and blossoms on a flat stone near the dragon's resting place. The dragon stirred, stretching its elegant neck forward to sniff the offering. A soft rumble of approval filled the chamber, echoing pleasantly against the crystalline walls. Rowan felt a pulse of warmth in his chest. This time, there were no words, only a sense of peace that rolled between them like a gentle tide. The dragon shifted, sweeping a wing in a fluid arc, sending motes of shimmering light dancing across the chamber. For what felt like hours, Rowan simply sat with the creature, sharing the quiet. He observed every minute detail, the soft, overlapping scales that caught the light, the languid sway of the dragon's tail as it rested on the smooth stones, the bright glint in those deep green eyes that spoke of knowledge older than the mountains. Occasionally, the dragon would blink slowly, releasing a gentle sigh that sounded like wind chimes in a far-off garden. Here, in this hidden realm, time felt softer, as though it yielded to the harmony between man and magical beast. At last, sensing he should return to his day's tasks, Rowan rose. He bid the dragon a silent farewell, pressing a palm against its scales in gentle thanks. The dragon bowed its head in acknowledgement, a silent vow of continued guardianship over the springtime realm. Rowan left the cavern with renewed spirit, stepping into the bright morning as though emerging from a cherished dream. Days continued to roll forward in gentle procession, each sunrise painting the horizon with soft pink and lilac. The village thrived, and neighbours often remarked on Rowan's peaceful demeanour. Harvests were bountiful, wildflowers abundant, and the entire region exuded the serene joy of spring's peak. And through it all, the memory of the springtime dragon held a quiet place in Rowan's heart, reminding him that beauty and magic are always near, sometimes hidden just beyond a veil of morning mist. Now, dear traveller, let the hush of these memories lull you toward rest. Take a slow breath in, letting the sweet scents of blossoming meadows drift through your thoughts. As you exhale, feel the soft weight of slumber tug gently at your eyes. The forest grows still in your mind, the edges of its leaves touched by the golden shimmer of dawn. You can imagine the quiet footsteps of Rowan wandering those misty trails, carrying in his heart the tranquil secret of the springtime dragon. You can almost sense the gentle breath of that ancient creature, rising and falling, lulling the mountains into peace. This is the hour of calm when each petal folds gently in the night air, and the hush of the valley cradles every living thing. The distant echoes of waterfalls blend seamlessly with the soft hum of the wind. Breathe in slowly, and breathe out fully, letting the weight of your day drift away like the mist that once curled around the mountain slopes. Invite serenity into your thoughts, wrapping you in a comforting cocoon. Let your eyelids grow heavier, as if lulled by the rhythmic purr of the dragon at at rest. Let yourself drift on a river of moonlight, guided by the gentle promise that spring's glow warms every hidden space. Here and now, you rest in a timeless moment. Gentle and free, you allow every muscle to soften. The story and its soothing images settle deep within you, preparing a place of total quiet in your mind. Soon, the only sound you'll know is the calm of your own breath, the steady lull of your own heartbeat, easing you deeper into the realm of dreams. Feel the hush of the mountains, the forest's soft hush, the final exhale of the day's cares. Sink into tranquility and let your spirit wander through gentle illusions of glowing caverns and shimmering wings. Embrace the tender invitation to sleep. Let your breathing slow, your mind still, and your spirit rest in the knowledge that all is well. Good night, dear traveller. Sleep well.